So a couple of years ago, I was visiting my mom. She's now 89, and so this would have been when she was like 86, 87, somewhere around there. And she had a new flat screen TV, but she never used it because she didn't have cable. And she had a VCR DVD player that was still in the box. She had never even taken it out of the box because she didn't know how to use it. So I went to the store and got an indoor antenna because she didn't know that there was still free TV out there. So I got her an antenna, and she suddenly had 18 channels on her flat screen TV. That was a really nice TV that just sat there collecting dust for a while. And then I set up the VCR and DVD player so that she could watch her figure skating videos and DVDs, which she had tons and tons of. So, I got her all set up. I showed her how to use everything. And I talk to my mom every day on the phone. And this past week, she was telling me that, I'd really like to watch some figure skating. Like, Mom, get out your tapes and your DVDs and watch. Well, I'm afraid I'm going to mess up the TV if I do that. So I haven't done it. It's like, oh my gosh, Mom. So my mom was so amazed at what I had been able to do for her. And at least, she still has her 18 channels of TV for all that that's worth. But she didn't understand, how to use everything just right. She was amazed, but she just didn't understand. Oh dear. I'm going to have to go back and show her again how to use all that stuff. Well, this morning we stand on the mountain with Jesus and Peter and James and John. And they are absolutely amazed at what they see. Jesus is glowing. His clothes are whiter than white. And there's Elijah and Moses. I mean, they haven't been around for a long time. But it's just absolutely amazing what they saw. But they really didn't understand. Peter suggested setting up camp, hanging out for a while, maybe roasting some marshmallows and singing some songs around the fire. Okay, maybe not that. But let's stay, he said, because we'll have a glorious time here in all of this glowing glory. But this isn't the first time that the disciples didn't understand what Jesus was all about. In fact, right before this reading, leading up to this moment on the mountaintop, there's several things that happen that really kind of help us understand or not understand the disciples. So it starts with healing a blind man. And then Jesus asks the disciples, who do people say that I am? And then he asks, who do you say that I am? And then that's followed by Peter saying, you are the Son of God. You are the Messiah. And then it's followed by Jesus' first prediction of his passion. That's followed by Peter rebuking Jesus. No, absolutely not. We're not going to do that. And then Jesus rebuking Peter. Get behind me, Satan, Jesus says. If you want to follow me, you have to pick up your cross, Jesus says. And then they go up the mountain. The disciples see, and then they don't quite see. The story of the healing of the blind man is really a metaphor for the disciples in the Gospel of Mark. This is a unique story to Mark that is not in any of the other Gospels. So Jesus lays his hands on the blind man. And he says to the blind man, "Can you see?" And the blind man says, "Yes, but everybody looks like trees moving around." And then Jesus finishes the healing. But this is really a metaphor for those disciples. That they kind of get it, but everything kind of looks like trees moving around. But they don't really understand what Jesus is all about, not until after the resurrection. And quite honestly, after reading the Acts of the Apostles, they still don't quite get it all. Especially Peter. He's our favorite foil. We are the disciples. At certain times, we glimpse just a tiny bit of God's glory. And we understand just a sliver of it. Other times, we're as clueless as Peter standing there saying, "Let's have a camp out" on mountaintop. When we see the glory, we want to hang on to it. We want to put it on the shelf so that we can admire it. And then we can admire ourselves for our ability to see God's glory. But I think this goes back to the question that Jesus asked the disciples. Who do you say that I am? We want a Jesus that's lifted up and glowing like the Vegas Strip. I mean, we can have fun there, right? What we end up with is a resurrected Jesus with holes in his hands and his feet and his side. The glory of God is not about a light show, but the glory of God is sending a son, the Son, into the world to build relationships with us, to sacrifice for us, to suffer, to die for us. The glory of God is to resurrect not only Jesus, but to resurrect all of us. We are dazzled by the light, radiating Jesus. That's what we love. But our life comes from the one willing to face the cross, the one whose love is brighter than any light that we can comprehend. The glory of God is the love that came into the world in order to change the whole world. Amen.